Hi guys, I am here gonna make a new keto recipe. Since I have a terrible time with grains, I'm trying to get filling food without using any. And then with a lot of different cheeses, I mean, just if you have a problem with cheese, you're not gonna be able to eat this. But if you love cheese like me, you're gonna love it. So it seems really simple. What I have here is I took some chicken thighs and chicken breasts. The recipe calls for chicken breasts, but I eat out of my freezer and I had some thighs, so we're gonna wing it. And then a couple chicken breasts here, and I have them soaking in a salt water brine, just some warmish water with some salt in it, because it helps get all the yuck out. So I'm gonna rinse these out. So now I've rinsed these out. Just rinse the water off of them. The salt, so they're not super salty. It does give them some flavor though, and it just takes away that nasty chicken flavor. So then I'm gonna use a paper towel and get some of the water off. I have my super mess-proof pan. They say you should probably put some oil on it, so I might put a little olive oil on there. Get some of that water out of there. Olive oil on my pan. Wrap it around. Now, some people are like, oh my gosh, girl, you're totally using your hands. Yes, I am. That's how I was taught. As long as your hands are clean, it shouldn't matter. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these out, and these ones I'm just gonna throw down here on the pan. Some of it you can't see so good because my video, see, this is a teeny tiny little breast. You're supposed to be able to cut those in half. I'm testing this out because I want my family, I want to make sure it tastes good before I feed it to my kids. I mean, usually I don't do this. Usually I'm like, this is what mom made for dinner. But inevitably they end up eating an insane amount of fruit before bed because they were not hungry at dinner time. This is a big old breast. This could work cutting it in half the way they suggest and being able to stuff it. But some of these I think I'm just gonna layer because they're just tiny. They're little tiny thighs. So I'm just gonna roll up some of them. This fat's gonna render out probably. Thighs are not my favorite. I love using them in dishes that require a really great chicken broth. So you can see there's quite a bit of fat on here, but we're going for easy today. Okay, so there's that. Just got done washing my hands because I don't want chicken and oil all over them. Now I already salted these a little bit, but I'm gonna do a little salt and pepper. Actually, I'm not gonna do salt because I'm gonna use Traeger. Pork and pepper seasoning, so it's really good. Okay. So the next step we have is we have to get our our stuffing kind of figured out. So I have some broccoli here that I'm supposed to chop up. Constantly going off camera, I know. I like to eat the stems because they're really hearty. For the purposes of this, I mean, I don't even think I'm gonna need this much. I'm gonna cut up some of these. And okay, so I decided that I wasn't going to put this video with all of the stuff prepared because that's kind of deceiving. I mean, when they're like, it only takes this long to cook a recipe, and you're like, right, but I have to cut up a half a pound of vegetables. that takes time. I mean, I don't buy my vegetables pre-cut usually. And even if I did, even if I got a big old bag from Costco, I still have to cut them smaller, I guess. But we had some broccoli in here and I saw this and it looked really good. So now I have a couple cups. Yeah, like I pulled out way too much broccoli. But I might cut up a little bit more. Just a little bit more. I love cooking. I don't like doing dishes, let's admit it. I'm not much of a dish person. I like to cook, I like to have a clean kitchen. So here we have, you know, oh my gosh, I would say a couple cups, maybe 2.5 cups. Mostly I just eyeball it, and you can get recipes. I'll make sure that I post this, the link for the recipe where I got this below. It's from like keto, the best keto recipes, I think is what it was. But I'm gonna cut these up a little smaller because I have some smaller chicken. Okay, so there's my broccoli. I have a bit of cream cheese in here because I love me some cream cheese. I'm gonna soften this. The thing about this is oftentimes it blows up. You know what, I'm gonna use soften instead of just put it in there, because me and cream cheese in the microwave doesn't ever seem to work out so well. Okay, and then we have cheddar cheese. Voila. Voila. This is my least favorite part of cheese, using cheese. Usually I have my husband do it. I'm like, Brian, can you please grate me some cheese? And it's amazing how much cheese that guy can grate in like just a few seconds. Look at these big old fat blocks from Costco, man. As you can tell, I am not measuring anything out. Like I said, I will give you the recipe, but mostly I eyeball it when I cook it. That looks good, right? That looks like a phenomenal amount of cheese. It's probably a cup or so, cup and a half. Are you a cheese like stuffer? Do you measure by stuffing or do you measure by? Okay, that looks yummy. So now, I know with this sheer volume of stuff, I'm not gonna have enough cream cheese. I have this feeling deep inside, not quite soft. Start. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this off to the side. I have to get a new thing for my phone so that you can like tip down and see. See? Check it. And hopefully you can see better. I don't want anything to fall off my thing. But there's this one big breast right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it in half so it can be stuffed. Oh, see, that didn't work out really good at all. All right, so there we have it. I used to do this sort of thing, you butterfly it with, you can make like a caprese chicken where you stuff it with mozzarella and basil and balsamic vinegar. You make a balsamic vinegar glaze. It's really good. You bake it. You can do this sort of thing with lasagna. I've done that, where you put, you know, your marinara and your coda and your mozzarella and your parmesan, and you stuff it all in there, and then you bake it all. It's very delicious. Okay, so now I have my cheese, my delicious cheesiness. So I'm gonna take my fork, I'm gonna mix it in here. Now, the recipe just calls for these base ingredients. Calls for the broccoli, the cream cheese, and the cheddar. But if there's anything I've learned over my years of cooking is that bland ingredients lend to bland meals. And if you want something to be delicious, you need to spice up all the bits and pieces of it. I'm gonna wash my hands. Now the idea was for a Cajun rub, but I'm not feeling Cajun, especially with this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of pepper in here. Eyeball it. And some salt. Ooh, some slick bit. And probably some garlic. Garlic powder. I love fresh garlic, but this mama only has 15 minutes to get this in the oven. So I'm gonna spread this all around here. I think it'll be enough cream cheese. They're like, only use 2 ounces. And I'm like, immediately I will double the amount of cream cheese you want me to use right away. But this chicken's gonna release some. You know what I bet also would add to this a little bit if we had some mayo. Have you ever had garlic mayo cheesy bread? Basically you mix, well, I don't eat bread anymore, back in the old days. You toast up some French bread or even just some toast. Oh, English muffins. And then you would, mix some cheddar cheese and some mayo and some garlic, and then you put it on there and you put it under the broiler until it would get all melty and delicious. It was so good. But it seems pretty decent. Like, it's got a decent amount of cream cheese in there. Some of them are a little bit more cheesy than others. And then of course you have to put the cheese in here. I think just a little bit too much. But I think I have a big family and they're like, oh, 4 small chicken breasts. So I guess I kind of am accustomed to knowing what my family eats. I'm gonna have to get some more cream cheese. I just feel it. I know what my family eats. We like to have leftovers because I'll eat it for breakfast or we'll eat it the next day for lunch. Yeah, this just is not gooey enough. I have some Boursin cheese. I mean, I have some more cream cheese too, but why not get creative? This is definitely off recipe, just an FYI. This is the shallot and chive because a little bit of onion goes a long way. Oh, that's amazing. And actually, I can't use that knife. I'll use this one, this fork. I'm gonna just like half of that in there. I love Boursin cheese. Just love it. I just really do love it. It's so flavorful. I'll put it on top of squash. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish mixing and blending and poking and getting this into kind of a mash. It's gonna definitely get melty. The broccoli is gonna release some moisture. The cheese is gonna get melty. That cream cheese and Boursin is gonna melt down. So, yum. Okay. And then I have a little bit of cheese extra to put on top in the event that I decide that I need to do that. Okay, don't have toothpicks. So what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna season the outside of these. This has like paprika and onion spice, and this is one of my favorites. Usually I oil the outside of this, but I kind of forgot to do it this time. I'll oil or butter up the outside of my chicken. Actually, we're gonna do the outside of this. And do some rubbing. What do they call it, a rub? Get in all those little cracks and crevices. This is gonna be so yummy, pretty much because I haven't had breakfast, and it's gonna be delicious. All right, now I'm gonna flap all these guys over. Actually, see, this guy just is too small, I think. This is a breast, but it's teeny tiny, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try to slice through it, kind of make a little butterfly out of it. Wasn't so bad. Okay, and I'm gonna use my fingers because that's how I learned to cook. And honestly, I think you're just way more effective and efficient. And then we're gonna roll that bad boy up. So these little tiny thighs, we're just gonna roll them up and we're gonna set them there. And guess what the odds are? The odds are these suckers are gonna flop open and we're gonna have cheese and broccoli goodness all over the place. But you know what? That's okay. I don't have any toothpicks. All right, more stuffing. Let's get some of that cheese that's stuck on the bottom there. Ooh, this is gonna be so good. There's that. Now here is the Big Mac daddy of breasts. I am gonna load this big boy up because I have a lot. Oops, that might be too much. I have 2 more. So we're gonna stick this in here, fold it over. Now they're like, use a toothpick. I'm like, yeah, that would be great, but I don't have those. So, and then I have this one, use this half. See, my calibrated eyeball was working about right. My husband talks about a calibrated eyeball when he's building our house. So, if you look behind, you can see like there's a false wall back there that separates our warm house from our cold house. Our kids think it's cool. My youngest son is like, this is how houses are supposed to be. Like, this is so awesome. I'm like, actually, it's just been this way like since you were born. It's getting close, but oh, almost a little bit. I have this tiny skosh left. See, I'm gonna scoop all that goods up. Who do I see that needs? Ooh, I think this little tiny breast. I think I was a little sparing with him. Okay, I just shoveled all that in there. Okay, just washed my hands again. Oh, see, this one's already starting to come out. I don't think I have toothpicks. I just don't think I do. It would be great. I just don't use them. I think I used to have toothpicks. I don't have them anymore. So this little guy right here, he keeps wanting to open up. So I'm just gonna kind of roll him a little bit. So he's kind of covered up, covers up the innards. All right, I'm gonna throw this into the oven. They said about, they say 30 minutes, and it just really depends. I don't like my chicken to be overdone. I'm gonna start it out at 25 minutes, probably. 25 or 30 minutes, we'll see. I'll see what it looks like in 25. So. Well, I had it in there for 20 minutes. Oh man. That looks so yummy. I think I'm going to test out some of the smaller ones. I bet you the big guy is still gonna need some time in the oven. So I'm going to actually get a dish and I'm gonna pull off some of the, I'm gonna put this a little lower now, sorry, so that we can see it when it comes out. Also, I'm gonna probably put the big one back in there. And actually what I might do is I might just put him in a different pan. I have a tiny one. I might put him back in here and put him back in, but right now we're gonna pull him out. Ooh, yes, mama. Gonna close that. I need to get a knife. Okay, these small ones definitely are done. Uh-oh. Let's hope we didn't stick. Oh my gosh, that looks so yummy. Actually, I'm gonna wait a second. This guy, what? You know what? I think 25 minutes was perfect because with a big breast like that, you have to cook it through into the middle. But what's actually happening is it's been cut in half. So you have your front top side, and then you have your bottom half. And this bottom actually looks really good. I think these are done. And I believe I put them in there for 20, I think I did 25 minutes. So 30 definitely would have overcooked the little guys. The big guy is gonna continue to cook even more now that he's out of the oven, just for a little bit. Yes, mama. Okay, now I gotta actually have some chicken. I'm gonna try this little guy right here. I think it's nobody's home, so nobody can see me eat this food. But with that Borson just added something, I'll tell you. Who else doesn't just eat off the pan? Moms out there. That is phenomenally good. That is my breakfast. So I can show it in my oven. So good. I love that rub. And then that little extra for the goods on the inside. It just adds a little something. It's not just, you know, broccoli and cheese. It's got the cheddar, but it also has the hoisin in there, the garlic, a little bit of salt and pepper. My kids are gonna like this. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Be creative with your recipes. Like I said, the recipe is like 4 chicken breasts. I'm like, I got me some thighs. And like I said, you can probably see they all just kind of flopped open. But they're so yummy. All right, guys. Till next time.